Hello, everybody. It's Quizzy Monday again, and it's nearly Halloween, but we didn't have any shockers tonight. We had an absolutely fantastic array of shows. What a brilliant Only Connect. Superb performance by Open University and University Challenge, and a fine winner in Mastermind. So a great night all round. Before we get into that, let's just have a quick look. There's a few people in the chat. Catherine saying good evening. Gerard got 285 on UC tonight. Haven't reached those heights for a while. Chris, well played, Catherine. Discussion about how many ads people are getting before they come on the stream. Hopefully not too much, and hopefully everybody's with us by now. So just a reminder, we have a newsletter that you can sign up for at allthingsquiz.com, and that will get you news not just from us, but from the world of quiz. The next one goes out tomorrow morning. So sign up for that if you want to be kept up to date with all of what's happening in the world of quiz, events, news, all sorts of stuff, and links to anything to do with all things quiz. Last week's winner of What Is the Question was this question by Tom Speller. The answer was 11. His question was the IMDb normally allows users to rate films up to 10 stars, but makes an exception for the movie This Is Spinal Tap, where users can give up to how many stars. This number references Nigel Tufnell's amplifier volume knobs in the film. So well done to Tom. This week's answer in need of a question is Philadelphia, and you can have vote on the long list at tinyurl.com/WITQ Philadelphia. So that voting will is open now. So get your votes in. So we have a fantastic lineup for you tonight. We have from Only Connect, Lewis, Ian, and Pam. Later on, we've got James and Eleanor from University Challenge. But right now, let's bring on the players from one of the closest and highest caliber Only Connect matches of recent times, Ian, Lewis, and Pam. Evening all. Hey, Pam, I caught you mid-biscuit. Brilliant.
Who's Big Ron Atkinson?
Sorry?
What?
Who's Big Ron Atkinson?
Well,
He used to manage Manchester United.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because somebody on Twitter has compared me to, says Ian could pass the Big Ron Atkinson.
Interesting one on me.
That really isn't a compliment.
Yeah, I don't see it. You've got a lot more about you.
You haven't got the tan, nor have you got the bling, nor the casual racism. So you are.
Well, I'll work on two of those.
It crossed over from casual. I'd say quite a few times.
It was more than
not
casual,
by Ian.
I was trying to avoid litigation, but Lewis went there, so that's fine.
He said what he said about Marcel Desailly.
He did say what he said about Marcel Desailly, and it was entirely wrong. And he paid the price, which is quite right. Anyway, moving off to politics. What have we got here? We got some comments. What's this? Hang on. Every week, Gareth changes the password, and somehow Lewis still manages to get in.
I'm hacking. I'm a hacker man.
I tell you what, once in the system, you cannot get rid of it. Lewis he's in the matrix. Claire, hello everyone, including Gareth. Thank you for remembering, Claire. Cheers. Lovely to see you, and congratulations. This is a new one, Erasure Fusion.
Sorry.
Hi. So that's good. Congratulations, Ian and Pam. Commiserations, Lewis. Well done, all. Michael and partner saying Ron never had a beard, never wore glasses, had different coloured hair.
He's
there we go. I think we can dispel the Ian Fennell is Ron Atkinson myth as quickly as it came up. Two great teams who performed really, really well previously. And obviously, you knew of each other before you faced off. Everybody knows Pam, obviously.
Everybody knows Lewis.
Everybody knows Lewis. But when you were drawn against each other, you got the first instance of, we're playing people we know are good. But did you know quite how well each team had got on in the first round?
We didn't tell anybody our score from the first round deliberately.
So, but Lewis, you had no idea that they got the joint second highest score ever.
I don't think we knew it was that much. All we knew was the guys from the volunteers seemed well and truly shell-shocked. On our first recording day, these guys recorded just before us.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we saw each other. And it was fun to be in the same block because I guessed that you guys were going to be on, but I didn't know until I was in the canteen and I saw Pam. I was like, yeah, that's great. The only people that I knew that definitely were on were the also rounds. So I thought it was going to be a fun series, whatever. But yeah, I knew they'd done well, but quite so well. That was scary to hear about, but it was really good. I've hosted these guys in Connections League, and the range of knowledge is really strong. And I generally don't really think there's anyone better at the final round than Jamie. Like he's so good. The only times I've really seen him ever put a foot wrong is where he knows he has to go for it, so he goes for it, and he doesn't get it straight away. But that happens so rarely. He's so impressive. So yeah, we always knew this was going to be a tough match.
Yeah. We did once. He buzzed. He said the first bit, and I finished it off.
Teamwork,
which is allowed. So I'm always, if I see it, I'm always ready to speak, just in case.
Nice.
It's better if he buzzes, because I can't buzz as quick as him. But, even if I know things, so I always try and say the second bit in case he stops.
Well, we got some people reacting with no kind of agenda or vested interest, but Jack saying 36 was too much. No one needs to score that many for his red droopy eyes. And we like shapes. 21 is easily the most a team ever needs, which I suspect is somebody speaking from experience. But if you don't know who you are, we like shapes. So
well, it's strange. We went from the team with the highest winning margin to winning by 1. So that's
yeah, but a win's a win. I mean, you'd have
panic
taken
seems of panic in every bookmakers.
So yeah, you got cracking, and actually, first round video Nasties, Lewis, went pretty well for you. You must have been feeling, this team, they're not all that. You're
I definitely wasn't thinking that. I think round 1 tends. I think if you look at our last game, we did well in round 1, but less well in round 2. So I think we sort of expected to get points there, and we sort of had a feeling for the way that they write the questions, I guess, as well. We had good understanding of it. But yeah, I think everything went pretty well. Obviously, the music, which was ours, went for an X, which I don't feel bad about. I just didn't know those other songs really. But yeah, I think everything else went pretty well. I was happy to sort of risk it on the youngest and oldest. That just seemed right. The Shades of Blue was one of those ones where you go, well, I'm right. Like, it couldn't have been anything else after looking at it. And if it was something else, I'd have argued to hell with it. And yeah, I think we were pretty lucky not to get that counties one, because that just felt, a little bit, it was difficult, a little bit. Yeah. I just didn't know who most of those people were, which is not fun.
Well, who knows what's the Stafford Cripps?
Yeah, what does Stafford Cripps look like? I don't know.
Stafford Cripps with a black and white, almost, not even just a full face one, but just
And then you know it's Devon, but you don't.
Stafford Cripps, and it disappeared into
Malcolm, but you don't.
Corner.
Yeah, you don't obviously think Devonshire.
You went for mobility, didn't you? I think you said Earls, but because with Devonshire only fits if you're talking about nobility, the Dukes of Devonshire.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's never referred to as Devonshire.
No, I tried just saying to somebody. I said, if you say a county, you don't say Devonshire. You just write Devon. We might say Devonshire cream tea.
Exactly why we had the same thought. We didn't go for that. We went for castles because it's like.
I guess it's a classic case of go with a simple answer, but But I don't know. But that first round, it felt like, I'm not sure if this is the right word. It felt relatively straightforward. It wasn't too tricksy. That kind of one aside, but
compared to last week,
Return, the Ben and Jerry one, a bit of a connection. Oldest and youngest, the blues. That none of them were like fiendish wordplay or anything.
Not as weird as last week's.
Yeah.
Everything was. Even the ones we didn't get, we can see how we could have got them. Maybe. I think we were probably fortunate. You guys said Carl Benz and luckily didn't come to us. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the Libertines at the time. Who didn't? So that was straight in my mind as soon as Big Doherty came up. But yeah, it was. You're right. It seemed playable in the way that some weeks this competition hasn't been.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Although we've got an interesting one from Katie Marchant here. When you buzzed on the blues question, it could still have been Yankee Candles at that point. I mean, I was going to say that's really niche, but when you've had Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavors, and maybe Yankee Candles aren't that niche.
Perhaps. And also because Alex McMillan, who writes for the show, they did a very viral thing about Yankee Candles. So yeah, you're right. That could have gone. It wouldn't have surprised me if that came up. But luckily, I'm not a candles man. I'm a big light man. I just put the big light on. I don't care. I don't care about lamps.
You're not there for the ambience.
No, just I want it light or dark. Put the light on.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you went for light today, though, Lewis.
Thank you.
We can see you much better that way. So yeah, that first round. I mean, it was 7-2, but we knew the Mercians were going to come back.
Yeah.
Nobody keeps the Mercians in the corner, do they? So what was your kind of, you got 5 in the next round. How did you feel that went then, Pam and Ian?
Well, definitely better in the first round.
Yeah.
Your knowledge of Coronation Street, Pam?
Was my friend? Yeah, my friend's a real soap watcher, and I just don't watch them anymore. But luckily, I just remembered her. That was enough.
I know that was
so
the one. You go.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Pam.
I say when I said I've watched it since Pat Phoenix was on, which probably doesn't mean anything to a lot of people.
I know that question was the one that Nina was most annoyed not to get because she's a big Corrie fan.
Yeah.
A few years ago when she was on Millionaire and I was her phone a friend and she gave me a bit of money to say thank you, I bought her a cameo video from the actor who plays Peter Barlow because she's huge on Corrie, so she was gutted not to get that one. But I thought it was. I like that you got. I like that you knew where it was going and you got it. It was good to see.
At least, yeah.
It was classic quiz knowledge, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't watch Coronation Street, but it's a thing, isn't it? Like, Gail's had loads of husbands, and actually the fact that there was at least 4 of them makes it ideal for kind of Mimir quads and stuff like that. It comes up, so you don't really, as long as something triggers in your head, that it's that you can get to it as you did. Gerard, though, has too much knowledge. I almost skipped Tilsley and said Potter, Gail's maiden name. That would have been tragic for you. Hang on. Phoenix and Gail were on at the same time for a bit, says Michael.
Oh.
And we had something here. Now, is this the right round? Bloke on Twitter saying, "How the hell did Pam know Billie Eilish and Paul McCartney?" Oh, that was round 1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
You had a good
I just
night.
replied. I said I quizzed. a lot of people like that.
We need to get that put on a T-shirt, Pam.
Yeah,
I quiz.
I'm straight.
How do I know this?
That would be good. Lewis, how did you find that round?
Yeah, sort of. It was more difficult for us. I think nothing really shone. That scuba question, you could tell when Victoria was reading out the answer. I think all 6 of us in unison, but basically went, "Oh, that's what it is. Of course it is."
But was that not a little bit unsatisfactory, Lewis?
It was not a good question. But yeah,
it's a 5-letter.
It's a 5-letter thing. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's a great question. And also, just like when you're just trying to use synonyms for words like that, I don't think it's ever particularly satisfying to solve or to watch.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Those things happen. I was really happy with Dutch Monarchs. Like that was I thought that was a great get from Nina, particularly how she pulled out the second bit of that. That was really impressive, and we were impressed at the time. I know that was a really good moment for her. But yeah, I thought that was really tough. And then we were I think lucky to pick up a point from you guys on the Ace King Queen Jack one.
That's
because because Jamie said King, but then sort of let himself be taken away by Zynga and other mobile app game makers. Easy enough to do.
Wizard of Oz thing, I think, on the first clue.
That's all I know.
Which is exactly why they did it.
With my Doctor Who.
And for the third clue, to have not one of the most famous Queen songs. It's on Queen's Greatest Hits, so it's not completely obscure.
It is a banger.
Yeah, but it's for the kind of the last clue, it's
it's not Bohemian Rhapsody. Is it?
Yeah, it's not We Will Rock Your World.
We were fortunate that it left enough doubt in your guys' minds that we could get the pick up, and that's probably my favourite part. I think when that one came up, I was like, "Don't worry, guys, I've got it. I know what I'm doing," and my plan was just to point at Jack. That was good fun for me. And then we were. I think we had a similar sort of wrongness in thinking with the art one, which you answered so well, Ian. Because I think Jack said afterwards that he knew the second, and I think he even says the name of every artist. But for the second one, Jericho, I think he was imagining it as J-E, like Jericho Walls of Jericho, not Jericho. And that is what took us away from it. Someone said somewhere that it was. I don't necessarily agree, but compared to last week when the Also Rams got that point for that question, where it's like you can say anything, and it's funny that we said something with goth in it, which is so nearly correct, but not correct, and not correct enough. It's sometimes those vagaries in the game that do make it quite entertaining and fun. But it was so well picked up from you, and Ian, I've said it before. You've got the best voice in the business, and you saying the names of those artists was the show should be back on BBC Four with that sort of high.
Have you got Anne from the Open University on after this?
She's not coming on, unfortunately. She's not feeling the best. We've got a couple of people coming on, but Ian, you spotted something, didn't you?
Well, I gave us the final answer to that Saturn Devouring His Children by Goya, and lo and behold, in the next quiz, University Challenge, she's wearing a T-shirt or some kind of shirt with that very painting on.
Yeah.
Now, conspiracy theorists.
To say the conspiracy theorists, of course, Jericho was a picture in Only Connect. Came up on University Challenge as well.
So we're all just actors. It's all done in the same studio. There was a continuity slip up.
Yeah,
so like the moon landings, it's not real.
So it was the Dutch Monarchs one was good because the problem is there've been so many queens of the Netherlands that I find trying to remember where it stops, where that line stops, and it clearly was Willem Alexander was the last one. But again, it's like you could have risked it for 5, conceivably, but risk is the word there. Huge risk, because even if you think Wilhelmina, it's going to be a Dutch queen.
Yeah, there's not enough to really hang yourself onto, right?
Yeah, not many Wilhelminas around.
No, maybe that should go.
Maybe there are.
Lewis, back onto that Van Gogh one just for a second.
Yeah.
If you had lost by a point and been knocked out of the tournament on the Van Gogh one, would that have rankled?
No, because we weren't right enough, so it's fine. But I don't think so. I think I try not to let little things like that and get to me anyway, because I'm prone to it, and I know that I have more fun when I don't think like that. The amount of times where I don't want to rehash the events of Pop Culture Challenge Season 2 Tier 1 final, but there was a question in that about noodles that I still insist was wrong, and Aidan says it wasn't, but I am right. I've checked every source; it's wrong, and that lost me the game, and that sent me mad for a little while. But it's 2 years ago now. But I got over it, and I feel better for it. I say I feel better for it. So yeah, I don't think it maybe would have stung at the time, but I just can't imagine. It's not in my nature to sort of be going like, "Oh, that's unfair," because we weren't right enough, and these guys were.
Well, somebody on Twitter thinks you were robbed on the Van Gogh question.
Good. Well, as long as I'm the people's champion, that's all I need.
You'll take the sympathy and the
anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Claire Barrow saying, note to self, don't sweat the small stuff. Additional note to self, it's all small stuff. There was a phrase that I saw about football. Of all the unimportant things, football's the most important. Well, I think some people would say that about quiz. Of all the unimportant things, quiz is the most important. But and Gerard throwing this one in. There's a worm called Wilhelmina in some kids' show, isn't there? I mean, take your word for it, Gerard.
Yeah, you need to be more specific with that one, Gerard.
Through that sequence. So, yeah, Mercians 7, Video Nasties 10, going into the wall, and it was such exemplary wall play from both teams. I thought tonight it was just neither of you really kind of broke sweat in it. I mean, that's how it looked. I mean, you started off, Lewis. Talk us through that wall.
Yeah, I think we'd forgotten elements of it. The only thing that Nina could remember was saying the word Portaloo, and we tried to work backwards from there when we were discussing it earlier today. But yeah, you're right. It's one where it's not like everything was. You know, sometimes you see it and you go, "Oh, those are the four things." Done. It was one where we had to just, bit by bit discover. I think we pretty quickly saw there was Rovers football teams, but after we got some of those out of the way, it took another little while for us to work out the things with W's, etc. Yeah, I think it was we played it. We didn't panic, which is the really important thing. I think it being our second game, it helped. It was definitely a little bit harder than the first wall, as I recall. And there was the amount of times I see it in posting for Connections League that people just panic sometimes, and you lose it, and you just have that horrible feeling we're gonna get nothing, and just it's scary. Like it's such a you're really bearing yourself in those moments because it's just you and the wall talking to your friends trying to get something. It's challenging. It's stressful. But I think you're right. We did a professional, nice work through of it. And I'd forgotten that we'd done it, but I liked that we took a little bit of extra time at the end just to make sure that everything was as it should be.
Yeah.
Didn't want to rush it.
Yeah.
But again, it's really our game plan in this game was we need a lead on Jamie at the end because he's so quick on the buzzers. These guys are going to back him up well. There's no way we can beat him. We need a cushion, and we just need to make sure that he can't eat into that. So I'm glad that we took that extra time. But I thought it was I think I'm glad that we didn't get done by it, because I think the Adam and the Ants words one is a tougher one. It's not maybe the toughest or most confusing.
You got that.
Nina got that really quickly.
Nina got it really quickly.
Really?
Yeah. Or saw there was at least 2 or 3 that were there. Really good knowledge, I think, from her. And then us working on that could be, what else would fit in that, even if it's not necessarily a fourth song we know. And then I really loved on the rewatch Jack's quick interjection of it's not just things that end 00, it's that they're brands that end.
Brands.
Like I didn't remember him doing that so quickly. But you're right. I just think it was a good solve. We were really happy with it. And then I enjoyed that again. I said it before on the show. It's really fun when you see the other team's ball because it's the only part you don't know about on the show.
Yeah,
and it was fun to see that you had Adams as well. For Adam, yeah.
Chris Dyson's thought on Portaloo. Portaloo couldn't escape if I wanted to. There you go. My Portaloo story before we move on to the other wall. Woburn Sands in Bedfordshire has one of these little kind of railway stations that's just kind of a platform and nothing else. For years when I was little, they had a Portaloo next to it, and I thought the name of the station was Portaloo. It says Waterloo, and there was Portaloo. Anyway,
it makes sense.
I got more worldly wise as I got older. Wall 2, Mercians. Again, you just covered it off in a good, calm, methodical way. I mean, it's just the benefit of playing with each other in the Connections Online Quiz League that you've done this so many times now. You absolutely know how to do it.
Practice lots of walls. I practice lots of walls.
I sort of took it on as my task to look for hidden words. So I think I got the pond and lake and river and so on.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And I don't know. I don't remember. Victoria seemed to think I'd got the Dynasty characters somehow. I'm not sure I did.
I think I said the Dynasty characters. Yeah. I think you might have said.
I just said Sable or something. I think Sable.
Yeah. We weren't sure Sable was in the first time because it could be Stout, and then I think we thought, Sable could be one of those as well.
Yeah. It just came together.
Stoke family, because I couldn't remember what the proper name was.
the Mustelids, but it was just solid. I mean, it was just, you just went about your business and solved it, and it's like no drama, no kind of great rush or panic. You just did it, and I think just seeing
once you get the first two groups, or even get one out of the way, it just gives you that space to look at the rest.
Absolutely. Lewis, as you said, for your first time to see their wall, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, stuff that was very much not my Mustelids and Dynasty, not my area. But I think I'd have been in the right area of them on them, so I wasn't too shocking. But yeah, I really respected the speed at which they did it. They wrapped it up very quickly for a slightly more difficult wall. It's good to see.
Yeah. Michael saying Sable was in the Colbys first, and I got a free transfer over to Dynasty when that got cancelled.
Bosman.
There we go.
Sable.
The deep knowledge. I don't know which one was Sable. I did remember there was a Sable, and it was a nasty little.
Was it Stephanie Beecham?
Oh, might have been.
Somebody will correct me.
Michael will be there in the chat.
Michael will tell me.
Yeah, he'll know. So 3 points in it, I think, going into Missing Vowels. So Lewis, I mean, how did you know? How did you know you're facing such a tough opponent? Have you seen Jamie in action then as part of your?
Yeah, I think but even before I hosted in Connections, I think we played you guys a couple of times, and he was just always lethal on it. And then when getting into the hosting, we do like little host reports. I don't know if this is public knowledge, but we do little host reports after every game to the rest of the hosts. Not everyone does it. Some people should. Shanine, pathetic. Come on, Shanine, join in. It's fun. It's fun, Shanine. Sorry, but like it's like a nice thing to sort of like update through the week how the games are playing, if there's what's being missed. But if there's particularly good performances or standouts, or if someone smashes the last round, because there are a handful of players that really just can turn it on in that last round and go for it. That's noted, and Jamie's always in there. It's just one of those ones who can he can change the game like that. So, and I know, has he been on Countdown, or is it just that he's really good at it?
No, we want him to go on it.
Yeah, he's not actually been on, right?
telling him.
I think I heard that, that he's like an Apterous player and he's so good, but for some reason has not actually been on the show. And like that, even that was like, why? What?
I'm going to get the form for him. I want
to
be on it as well. I want to just be on enough to win a teapot.
I'm sure you can
I'll apply for Jamie on his behalf.
Yeah, good.
I don't have to play him.
Not so good. But yeah, it was just he came with that sort of reputation, which is also interesting considering his other reputation is he's just a really nice man.
Yeah,
he's just so calm. He's so laid back, isn't he?
So laid back, so calm. I think I met him a couple of times at quiz things, and he's just always been super polite, reserved.
Such a
charming.
He's a nice boy.
Really just nice guy, but lethal with it when it comes to this round. So it was just, we knew that it was always going to be a danger, and he's always going to be backed up by these guys who just, I know these two know things that I don't, and there's loads of stuff they know that I don't. So it was always going to be a challenging game. I'm glad we kept it so close, really, and I'm a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, it's so close at that last point. Are you annoyed that it didn't go to a tie break?" But not really, because
I'm annoyed. I wanted to see you lot facing off in a tiebreak.
Oh, no, it gives me shivers. I don't want to think about it. But I'm 100% sure Jamie would have won at any tiebreak, because the tiebreak is going to be just a phrase which he'll see straight away. The only way that I could have beat him on something is if it's a piece of general knowledge that he doesn't know. That wasn't going to happen in that round. So yeah, it's I knew it was going to be a phenomenal performance, and it was. I'm glad that we kept in it. But watching back, I was surprised at the ones that I got, because I didn't remember getting. I think I got the first one. I'm not an art person. I think it was it Monet, but that's not my area. And I was surprised that it was just me getting that. And
I was buzzing as well.
Like a microsecond behind you.
Yeah, of course.
I knew Monet would come up, and I wasn't quick enough.
I think that and Canaletto were the ones that came into my head as soon as it appeared. And I remember sort of agonising that I was missing a word out of Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats.
Because that was a really good get, Lewis. I mean, that was.
I was happy with it. It was, When it's a longer one, you just sometimes you worry that your brain is going to melt and you're just not going to miss a little thing you're going to pick up on. So I was really happy to see that I got that, because I sort of remembered it coming up, but not knowing if I went for it or even. But I was happy that for us to be 9-5 in that last round was actually really pleasing. I didn't expect that, but I did expect them to win it and Jamie to win it. It's just the diving past earlier.
The speed quiz that we do on sort of in the weekdays sometimes, that shows how fast everyone puts in their answers. I'd be really interested if Only connected a little chart after everyone that showed how how quickly everybody pressed their buttons.
Yeah, I'd love to see all 6 buzzer times come up on screen. Yeah, they're done. Yeah,
I mean, I think for some of them, there must be
because I do quite well in that. But I could still not beat Jamie. But it doesn't matter because he's on my team.
And one thing that I think a lot of people don't realise is that when it's broadcast on the TV, the audience gets to see the clue for sort of half a second before you actually saw it in the studio.
Yeah, it's even quicker.
Just to give them more of a chance.
Yeah, people clearly still surprises people all the time when you tell them that. And you can tell, because every Monday night there's people go, "Oh, I'm so good at the missing vowels." Yeah. It's like, try it for real. See if you can hit it.
So when you see all 6 people going for the buzzer at once in the wide shot, it's like, But even everything you said about Jamie, after 2 sets, you'd only dropped a point. You were still ahead. Unfortunately, it was places where people get married that just it brought it level. But I mean that was the point at which.
That was
really
again. It was always the thing. Like I know that there's people have different takes on it. I think actually, I think Mike in the chat prefers when the clues are a little bit more straightforward, and it is just here's a thing, this is a thing in that category. I know it's a thing that people really talk about in the last round, and sort of the philosophy of the last round. Whereas I personally love playing the really tricksy, puzzly, worky-outy, confusing ones in the last round. I love the answer smashes. I love we've replaced this with this. Yeah, and I think those are really fun. And I like that, particularly for Connections League, where I always do fear that there's a lag issue, and that someone's going to have something slightly behind because their internet's less good. Yeah. I like when there's a little bit more of a puzzly clue, and it is that you have to work out. But that was a really just these are classic fun clues. Gretna is sort of the fun twist. The fourth is like the joke to the reveal one, so how they often set them up. But that otherwise, there were strong pieces, and when it's a word like that, Jamie's just never gonna he's never gonna beat, because he's gonna get a rhythm with it as well, which he clearly did.
It was just superb, right to the wire. Mercians 26, Video Nasties 25. Neither of you go home anyway, so it's good. And that was a game worthy of a final. Who knows whether that will be the final? No spoilers. I'm not aware of what the final is. But if you 2 teams met again, that would nonetheless be a worthy matchup.
We're going to get a bonus from BBC Two for just being entertaining for them.
Entertaining, yes.
The millions of viewers on the edge of their seats right to the last minute. Yeah. Are you not entertained?
Somebody in WhatsApp said, somebody WhatsApp said the 0.0564 seconds before the time runs out is the Jamie McNeil zone.
It's like Fergie time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have to sadly move on. But before we go, what Pam, Ian, Lewis, what are your favourite moments from Only Connect tonight?
Well, as a child of the 70s whose cultural education came from BBC Two, because there was nothing else really, the chance to say Saturn devouring his children by Goya. It's something I'll cherish forever, actually. That was that. That's good for me.
Wonderful. Pam, how about you?
Just keeping my friends happy by getting girls to sleep. She'd have been giving me earache for that.
Lewis, how about you?
In terms of an answer, I think my favourite was Nina's one on the Dutch Monarchs. I think that was a great pull from her, and I was so impressed, as I always am, by her. In terms of just a personal moment, I just really loved pointing at Jack. And my favourite bit on the TV tonight is, and I'm going to make it into a GIF, is me just going, him, and then Jack going like that and doing a little wave.
Lovely. I did love that. I think that was probably my favourite moment as well. It was just nice because I was thinking, what's he going to be saying, and then I'd forgotten at that point that Jack was on your team. So it was like, nice clarity of thought in the moment. Enjoyed that. Thanks so much, Pam, Ian, for coming on. Pam, I know you're going to be disappearing. Ian, if you want to stay on and talk about University Challenge with us, you are welcome. Lewis, obviously, likewise.
Don't think I've also got a bad throat.
Yeah, I've got a headache now.
Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time you're on. Pam and Ian, brilliant. Thanks so much. We're now going to play a couple of videos, and then we'll be bringing James and Ellie on, and we'll be looking at Open University versus Oxford Brookes, and then later on, before we close, we'll have Quiz Week, and we'll also look at Mastermind as well. But for now, Pam and Ian, goodbye.
Cheers.
Huge thanks to our community of All Things Quiz members. Your support helps us to keep this channel going. It pays for essential running costs. Now, if you want to become a member of All Things Quiz, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/allthingsquiz. And from £3 a month, you not only get to support the work of this channel, but there are a range of member benefits available, including our monthly quiz. Hope to see you soon. If you like what we do here at All Things Quiz, then please make sure you click the subscribe button. Please also click the like button. That helps YouTube to recommend us to other people like you. You can also share our videos with others and click the notifications button to make sure you're alerted whenever we release a new video. And that reminds me that we had our monthly Patreon members quiz last night. The winners were Ewan, Michael and Tomasz. They went to the last round level and ended up winning by 2 points, which reminds me that I forgot to put them in the nominations for Team of the Week. So Valerie will be listening to this right now, and my message to Valerie is, can you make EMT a team nominee, please? There you go. How could I forget that? It was great fun last night. But let's bring on James and Ellie. Evening.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a bit of feedback from somebody. Let me just check your audio settings, or it could be that there's something playing in the background. I don't know who that is. Let me have a look. Just have a look. Selectively mute. I think that's you, Ellie. So I'm not sure if there's anything you can do about that. It's not too bad at the moment, I guess. Congratulations, Open. My memory of your last match was that you started slowly but finished strongly. This week you went off like a train. Absolutely superb. What happened between that first match and the second match? Did you have a kind of discussion about tactics, how you're going to approach it?
I think the main discussion we had was about painting our nails, wasn't it?
Color. That was a big discussion. I think it was just a lot that we knew the first few questions before they did. I think getting the first one right quickly was kind of good. It kind of we were on like -5 for felt like ages last time.
Yeah.
Points on the board, being on a positive right away was a confidence thing. I think I certainly felt less nervous this time. I think we were done well enough to come back and enjoy it. Probably would have been the last time, but luckily we got to go back.
James, we're losing you. You're cutting in and out. I don't know if there's something you can do in your look at your audio settings. We're having an audio night tonight. But yeah, there might be something in the audio settings that might help out with that. If not, maybe if you see if you can get closer to your mic, I don't know. But yeah, all 4 of you got buzzes before anybody in the other team had got in. As a team, that must give you immense confidence.
I don't think we really noticed. I mean, I just was kind of aware that it was going very well, which was obviously a massive improvement on the previous episode. But I kind of wasn't really aware that it was, of who it was coming from. It was just like, this is a good team performance. Happy times.
Yeah, and it was, and then you were absolutely blitzing the bonuses as well. Really, doubling down on getting your buzzes and really capitalizing on them. I thought there was some just great team contributions from throughout.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think with the American States one, where they did you could actually hear the conversation and you could sort of see the team dynamic. And I know there were some other times where it was visible as well.
Yeah.
And I think we probably, unlike last time where most of the bonuses Anne was sort of going to one person or the other person, there was actually more interaction this time.
Yeah. I think it helped having Anne on the team for the American.
Yeah.
I think she was our go-to font of knowledge on that.
There was a nice little look at her, wasn't there? When
it was nice to have an American for the team.
Yeah.
I mean, Anne was on particularly good form. I think actually both playing and captaining, it just really seemed like a really team that hit their stride. In the midst of something like that, are you kind of feeling actually, we are, well, as Katie has put, a masterclass in getting shit done. We're kind of aware of that and thinking actually, we're doing well. This stuff it's coming off tonight.
Oh God, yeah. Like the difference between being 80 points behind and however many points we were ahead is just ridiculous. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah, I think there was a time, I think it was around the music bonuses, because the scores are on a screen like on the table, but like I wasn't really looking at them, and where I was sitting, I couldn't see the big score underneath Amal because I was right at the end, and I just looked down and I was like, oh my God, it's quite a gap. I was like, well, we're going to do this.
I mean, there's a temptation though that can lead to complacency, whereas you're kind of aggressive on the buzzer and getting in early. That actually, when you've got a nice lead, what you don't want to do is perhaps neg. You might sit back in your blocks a little bit, wait for that extra clue.
Yeah.
Is there any sense of that? Because there was a point where Brooks started to get back into the game. They started to get the buzzes. How much of that was them being more aggressive and you being less, or was it just fractionally beaten to the buzzer?
I think there was some that we were beaten to the buzzer. I know the Khan.
I think we probably.
Anne's a big Eurovision fan, so I think she was gutted about not getting the Eurovision starter question. But I think it was just them knowing the answers quicker than we did. I think watching it back, I think the only one I was kind of gutted about was the music, the Donna Summer one, but they were lightning quick on that.
So quick.
Very quick on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Broadbent was amazing on the starters. He got like a run where he was just in the rhythm. He kind of broke our rhythm and took over. So I think he got a good run, and that kind of helped them kind of get to. I think we were lucky with the bonuses we got. So I think a lot of the time, like we got bonuses that we knew about, like the American States film. We got quite a couple, apart from the college novels, obviously I don't know about that, but we got some plays and literature ones that were right up our street. And I think we kind of were lucky there. They got some like ones where they were yeah, I don't think we would have done any better than they did on some of their bonuses.
I think the ancient Rome ones we'd have done better.
Yeah, the ancient Rome.
I think.
Kind of okay.
I mean, we certainly knew 2 of them, and I think we probably won. But yeah, but yeah, I was really glad we didn't get the one on enzymes though, because I was just like, I should know this and I don't. So it's like, you can have it.
Dodged a bullet there, Ellie. Do you feel there's some pressure? You know, if you've got a specialism and something comes up, you know, do you feel like 6 eyes pointing in your direction? You really kind of aware of that.
I think you see, like, when they say Eurovision, we all look at Anne.
And yes,
we all look at. We just like turn. I felt that with the one that the answer turned out to be Fanny, but I didn't want to buzz in and say Fanny and it'd be wrong. Like being from Scotland, I was just waiting. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a Fanny in Far from the Madding Crowd. I don't know if that's what happens to her. And then thank God Anne buzzed in. I think it sounded better coming from her than it would have been from me, because if that had been wrong, I would never live that down.
That would have been clipped and on social media
everywhere. I would never. My dad would be sharing that with all his friends. I'd be never show my face in town again.
I mean, it's interesting that Gardner. I've felt so sorry for her on the Sasha Fierce question.
Yeah,
we've all been there where the answer's been in your head, and there's something stopping it coming out.
Yeah, I felt really bad because we were we had quite a long time with these guys, and we were talking about like pop music and Taylor Swift and things like that, and like I knew she would have known that, but it was just in that moment she just couldn't get it out.
Yeah, there was throughout the game actually a real sense of pace and a sense of almost rushing about your team, you know, and diving in halfway through bonus questions when you knew the answers. And I guess that there's, you know, you could say when you've got a 100-point lead, you might want to take your time on stuff. But was that kind of a reaction maybe to your first match? You just wanted to get more points under your belt and just keep going?
I think I'm certainly that. I just want to get to more questions.
I was going to say we were just, I don't know why we were doing it, but you know, we were just having fun and it was working. So yeah, crack on, really. I mean, I don't think we're really very tactical anyway. So.
No, I think we just wanted more questions. If we knew the answer, we might as well just move on to something else. We might not know the answer to, so just keep them coming. I think that's pretty much. There wasn't a strategy to that. Like probably we should have slowed it down a wee bit. It probably could have backfired on us if we said the wrong answer, but we didn't really. Luckily, it was questions we knew the answers to. Is pretty much how that works, because it could have looked really embarrassing if we were in it all the time and there were always wrong answers.
I mean, it struck me, and I don't know how you felt about it, Lewis. It struck me as a confident team rather than a nervous team. A confident team is just let's move on to the next one because we want more points. We want to say more questions.
And I think you guys both said it there, that you were having fun, and I think that was really evident, which is what makes the show. I think always. You want to see people enjoying themselves, but the teamwork was working really well. Stuff that was coming up for you was helping. I'm sure that's always confidence building, but throughout the whole thing, it just seemed like you were having a good time. Even when they got into a nice little run, it never really felt like it was going to be a different result.
Yeah,
because you always have that moment. It was always going to be there. You didn't feel like you were stressing. Your bonus conversion was really strong. I think it was a really good performance, particularly because it was in a repertoire match where we know that these teams are all going to be good. I was really impressed how from your last match you guys really just stepped it up. It was a really good performance.
We were quite nervous because we got because obviously we've not seen these episodes.
Yeah.
We knew we just got their score, which was 205, which was the highest I think of all the losers. So we were like, oh god. And then they were said what their strengths were, and it was maths medals and Biafran wars and stuff like that. Yeah. And we were punk music and films, and we're like, oh god, we're knowing the subjects that come up on this, we're out of our depth here. So I think that was my attitude. I was just like, well, and luckily it was a film question, it was right at the start, so luckily that helped us. But so yeah, we just kind of tried to enjoy ourselves more, because I the first time was not that enjoyable. I don't feel bad saying that. For most of it felt like a losing battle, but this time it felt more fun and more just as we got going, we kept building momentum, and it felt like it was just enjoyable. But I didn't look at the score. I was throughout. Like I didn't look at the score until close to the end, until they got
Good
that
way
wee
of doing
run.
it.
Yeah, well, like I wasn't really paying attention.
On the point you mentioned there at the start, James, that the when they said the other team's strengths and the things they got points of, and you knew that was the stuff that was more the sort of the show. Did you both generally feel that the things you were being asked were what you expected to be asked, or did you feel like, because I think it's a thing we've spoken about pretty much every week, that the syllabus does seem slightly different. There does seem to be a lot more culture in general, and a real, like, sort of in a very engaging way. Maybe it's just because the pace of the show is much more. But were you surprised at the sort of stuff that came up, the amount of that stuff came up?
I was surprised there was a lot of, like the Nicki Minaj, Sasha Fierce set, like An's probably my favorite buzz ever, which is not one of mine.
Quick on
the Cardi B,
so lethal
and Cardi B. I was like, oh my god, and like Simone Biles came up. There was a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much like heavyweight maths and science, which is just from our point of view, to be fair. So,
Mike's like doping, which I still don't know what it is, but
he
knew what it was. Yeah, I'm glad he knew.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that came up so many times when we practiced that somebody should have known. So, luckily, Mike was that someone. So,
yeah, it looked like he got the like it is a lot broader now than it used to be. Like, I don't think we would have done as well if we hadn't got stuff we got in the first round of like punk, video games, film, like stuff like that. I mean, the film questions they're kind of quote higher brow films, but they're still films. I mean, 8.5 is not like Avengers or something, but it's still a film. But and I think it is a lot more broader. Certainly at this stage, I think maybe as it gets on, they probably turn up the like old school science and math questions and turn down the Cardi B. But
but then again, I mean, I think there's sort of less ancient history, in fact, probably less history full stop, and less geography than we were expecting, which we would have done quite well at. So, swings and roundabouts.
You did them well at the geography.
Yeah.
I'm looking after my way to Manchester. That's all I'll say.
Did you set yourselves a target? Having lost the first question, was obviously you want to win, but was there an objective that you had? Get more points than last time, or anything, or no, just go there and have fun?
No, I mean, I think because I was actually really chill, because I was like, whatever happens, we've made it this far. We haven't completely disgraced ourselves, so. Unless we have a complete disaster this time, happy time. So I was just, no pressure, no targets. Let's go have fun.
Have a target. Yeah, we'd seen the end of when we were getting our makeup done. We saw the end of the episode, the Trinity one, and they said they had the 250 points target, which they didn't hit, but we did, obviously. Not that bragging. We didn't have a target. We're like, that's lethal. Like, that's, to me, is the death of anything, having a target like that, because it's never going to happen. But if you you can control if you're going to enjoy yourself, and that's like, I mean, it sounds a bit like prissy and like things like that, but like I think if you go in trying to have a good time and something like that, you're probably going to succeed. But if you go in trying to get 300 points or 10 starters or whatever, you're probably not going to happen.
Yeah, you're putting pressure on yourself as well.
Yeah, that's an immense amount, because you feel pressure already just being there. Like putting something like that on you is just the death knell for anything.
I mean, you James, you said you didn't notice the score. Ellie, did you spot at some point when you'd gone past the previous score, 155?
No, I mean, I was sort of keeping an eye on the margin we had, but in terms of the actual score, not at all really. I mean, I think I did notice when we went over 200, and I was like, this is quite decent now. So.
Yeah,
but we definitely weren't sort of pushing to get over 250 or anything. We were just because we were chatting to Brooks beforehand, and they were really nice. So it's kind of no incentive to completely flatten them, which there might have been under other circumstances. So
the win's all you needed.
Exactly.
And they did well as well. They showed good knowledge, and they had some good starters and good questions as well. So it wasn't like it was a total whitewash. They had a good run as well.
Before I ask you about kind of favorite questions, favorite buzzes, and favorite bonuses, we heard earlier about Anne's T-shirt, which was from a painting which was mentioned in Only Connect. James, I got a feeling looking at your shirt that I should have known that design. Was that like a known arty design, or was it just a nice design?
It wasn't listed as such on ASOS, but if you know more than me about where ASOS get their prints from, I don't think this was a known designer. Actually, one of the drag queens on Drag Race UK wore the same outfit. Apparently, somebody
Just
told
looked
me
like some kind of line art. That
yeah, it was like a line drawing of like a statue or something. But yeah, it wasn't a name. It's just
okay. All right, because I did sit there through a fair point of that episode thinking, I should recognise that. Clearly not. But so yes, Lewis, any favourite questions for you pop out tonight? If you're able to pay that much attention to it, because obviously you were still in the afterglow of Only Connect.
I was replying to my messages.
Fun,
there was nothing that really stood out in terms of questions. There was stuff that I really enjoyed, and the buzzes I really enjoyed. Like James mentioned, I thought I loved Anne's buzz on Cardi B. Like as soon as it said her first name, I was like, yeah, this is a bit of Anne. And I did love those the music set, where I thought were really fun, really interesting, and I like when they've got a good hook on those. But I thought it was just another really engaging set. I think it's been. I've really been blown away by this series. By the Amo, I think has done an even better job than I thought he'd done. You know, I started off a bit cold. We went in and did a practice with him, and that really made me think, no, I think he can do this. But even he's taken that to the next level. I think he's been superb, not just with his reading and the speed, but I love the engagement he's getting out of everyone. I think he's really having fun with it. I think it's really good to see. The questions have been superb. Again, the amount, but the range seems more than ever. And with interesting, fascinating things that you really, you're interested to watch. And the casting of the teams has been absolutely fantastic. There's been so many strong teams, and most importantly, engaging teams. And these guys are another one of those. It's just even if I didn't vaguely know two of them, it's just they're nice, engaging people to watch. It's just been such a strong series. I'm now with at the end of round one proper. I'm really excited to start seeing everyone back again, because it's it's going to be so strong. Some of the matchups, with this amount of points going, I think we're going to have some really tough, challenging matches that go down to the wire. It's a really fascinating prospect.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with all of that. Ellie, you got Norway as a buzz. Was that your highlight of the show, or was there?
Yeah, well, I think that was actually the only one I buzzed in correctly. So yeah, let's be fair, I did quite well with the bonuses, I still don't know why I buzzed in on the other one. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway. But yeah, I did know it. I was just sort of waiting because I wasn't sure what information they actually wanted, because I was sort of expected Shetland buzz to be the answer rather than the question. So I was just, hoping that nobody would buzz in before me. But yeah, I was pleased with that one. So
there was an inadvertent piece of amusement when Anne got your name wrong in nominating, which was nice. But again, the fact that you all laughed was kind of there was no embarrassment or awkwardness. It was just a bit of a joke and a bit of a laugh and move on. That was quite fun, I thought.
Yeah, I think we were we're mates. We're just mates having a laugh, and I think that did come across really.
Yeah.
Now, James, you had a good night on the buzzer. Mise en scene, Koala, The Innocents, Pasternak, Modigliani, Dag Hammarskjöld. Any of those particularly make you proud to have got?
The Innocents one, because that's what I really like that film. Both films, both The Innocents, especially the new one, because that's quite a grim film to be mentioning on the TV. The koala bear ones proved to be quite controversial, because I said koala bear, and apparently they're not bears apparently, but apparently their scientific name is like something bear. So people were having debates about that. It's well above my pay grade. I heard eucalyptus and I said koala bear. It's pretty much it. But I think the Dag Hammarskjöld, because I have no idea where that came from. To be honest, I could only tell you that man died in a plane crash, and that was the only thing that kind of linked me to that question. But that's probably my favourite. And then I like the film bonuses and the literature bonuses we got. Those were fun for me.
Good.
Even when I
Well,
didn't
if
know the
anybody
answer.
does want to know more about Dag Hammarskjöld, then All Things Quiz has a video on the UN Secretary Generals that you can check in our Quiz Academy series. So
I definitely watched that before I went on the program. That's where that came from.
Yeah. We'll take
You can
the
use
credit.
that in the promo. Yeah, use that in the promo.
I know I really enjoyed the show tonight, but I did think there was an odd thing. It was like science and technology in 1823, then paintings completed in 1822, and it was like, has somebody just been going through a chronology in the early 1820s?
Yeah, and then wasn't that sort of round about the 1520s as well, which was a bit
1520s.
random.
I think we got 1820s and like in one of the bonuses in the first round, we got like the prison lady from 1820s. I just don't remember her name.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
1820s was where it was happening for whatever you this season.
Clearly was.
Well, I suppose we've got all the mature students on our team, so maybe they just think
they
we remember it.
So no, it was just a lovely show. The way you batted away the non-alcoholic components of cocktails.
Yeah, they did very well.
My low moment of the episode was I've read the entire series of those David Lodge Rummage University books. Got it wrong. So
I've never heard of them. So.
I mean, at a time when I was working in universities, I thought, "Oh, this is so accurate. Oh, this is so great." And it's like, yeah, nothing stuck clearly. So
clearly, being at the Open University means I don't want to read about universities. I just want to read about anything else.
Well, we are going to have to be thinking about James Davidson and Ellie in the university context for a little bit longer, because you have another round to go. The next round, if I understand the structure correctly, you lose and you're out, or is it?
Yes.
You get multiple.
Then
there's another round later where you get another shot.
It's the quarterfinals is like a round.
Round robin type thing.
Round robin, yeah, it's very confusing.
So it all gets serious. Was there much of a gap between this episode and the next one you filmed?
About an hour and a half.
Literally like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, it
was literally like leave the studio, give them your outfit for the next show to iron, go to the hotel, check into the hotel, quick change whatever clothes you hadn't left for ironing, go to Costa, stuff as much caffeine as you can down your face and go back to the studio. So,
it was and this wasn't like they started filming the next one at it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, so it was quite late.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, because they filmed those two, and then they filmed the first second round match. We went and got ready, then we came back. Because I remember we had to rush because Amal had to get a train.
Yeah.
At 8:30, so they were rushing him out the door.
It was a bit mad that last one, really.
Yeah, that last one was. I don't remember much of this.
It's odd, isn't it? You want to perform at your best, and they want you to perform at your best, but then you have a crazy kind of schedule like that of your adrenaline is just about coming down at the point where you've got to get back into the studio again.
I think there was we
did. We just kind of rocked back up and crashed in a heap.
Yeah.
And then we had these bonus questions. You had these practice questions which we were answering, and I think one of them was actually about the Queen of the Netherlands, which is quite a nice phone connect. And I sort of buzzed in, and I was like, "The Netherlands," and he's like, "Is incorrect, but I'll accept the Netherlands." And then he said something to Anne as well. So we kind of woke up after that.
Yeah, I think we would, because the other team obviously hadn't played a match. We'd played already a first match. So I don't know whether it helped or hindered us to have experience of playing already that day. Something different for coming back was we knew Amal's pace. The first time we hadn't seen episodes with Amal, we didn't know how quick or what he was like. But knowing that he was quicker, maybe we were able to adjust to that right away. But yeah, I think having a match play that day was maybe helpful or maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows? We will find
out.
We'll see, yeah.
Ellie, James, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations to Open, to Mike and Anne as well. Just brilliant. Really enjoyed watching it. Obviously, I know Anne pretty well, so and James, we've met before. I don't think you were on last time, were you, Ellie? I don't think.
Nope. No, first time.
But I think knowing Anne well and having met James a couple of times, I was secretly not so secretly cheering you on. So I was delighted that you won. I mean, I was delighted when you scraped into this repechage. Really good advert for having a repechage.
Yes.
It's a team like yourselves having another chance to show quite how good you are, and boy, did you! Fantastic performance. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next time round. So thanks, Ellie, James. We are going to be talking Mastermind and World News from the World of Quiz. You're welcome to stay on, but if you do want to disappear, that is fine too. I'm going to.
I have to get up at 5:15 to go to work, so I will be disappearing.
Can't blame you.
So yes, we are going to play a very short video. So at that point, if you click leave studio, you'll be gone. But we really appreciate you coming on, and good luck getting up tomorrow morning. Thanks so much.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Have you been waiting for a range of quiz merchandise to come on the market? Then wait no more. Whatever type of quizzer you are, whether you're a flashcarder, or you quiz with pride, or want to celebrate great quizzes like Millionaire Champions, or Bill McCaig, the king of 15 to 1, or your favourite TV shows, or even your favourite YouTube channel. Where do you go? The answer's loading. It's tinyurl.com/ATQ store. So I had an idea earlier of another piece of merchandise, a quiz Christmas jumper. This might be a monumentally bad idea, but look out for that one coming up.
Things a hit.
It's what all the not so cool kids will be wearing at a buzzer quiz coming soon. Mastermind. I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch that, Lewis?
I watched the GKs.
I
can't say any of the special subjects made me think I would be entertained by this.
Yeah. Well, yes. The special subjects we'll get onto. There's just a comment in the chat from Benjamin Benoit. Benjamin is in France and does a kind of a French commentary play along thing with
very cool.
So it is very cool to have you here, Benjamin. And one day we're going to get Benjamin, possibly in November, get Benjamin on to the show as a guest. So good to see you here. And what we got here, +1 on Christmas jumper for me, even if it comes out in July. And Claire was catching up on Brain of Britain during specialist subjects and then listened to GK. I know one person who was listening out for specialist subjects today. That'll be Michael McPartland, because Michael McPartland previously had the Salem witch trials as his specialist subject in the grand final. Tonight, our most predicted answers were here. Reptiles and amphibians of British Isles. Slow worm came up. Polemate newt came up. Salem witch trials. I don't think any of those came up. Indian Premier League cricket. Coley came up. Edward VIII. I don't think any of those did. But what happened in our predictions competition? Emma Napper got 5 points. Well done, Emma. Huang Yi and Philip Isaac got 4. Rob Jones, Tim Hall, Toby Atala 3. Ed Mason, our leader at the moment, and Pam Douglas got 2, and Chris Dyson, Michael McPartland, and Nick Reed got 1. So Michael didn't manage to clear up on the Salem witch trials, but with only 3 guesses, there's a lot of things to miss, I guess. So the leaderboard, Ed Mason is still top, with Philip Isaac is closing in, as is Pam, and Emma and Yi have pulled themselves upwards as well. So that's how it's all looking. If you want to play the Mastermind Predictions competition, you can now enter. And these are next week's topics.
Wow.
And I am gutted that I'm not gutted I'm going to be in Spain, but I'm gutted that I'm not going to be able to play along live with Billy Bragg, who I've twice tried to have as a subject on Mastermind and had it turned down.
You are talking to the Nerd League champion of Billy Bragg.
Oh, are you?
Last week or the week before, somehow I managed to win it. Mostly because I'm a big fan, but I'd listened to his recent episode of the Adam Buxton podcast he was on the day before, and I think it gave me about 4 answers that I wouldn't have got otherwise, which was very fortunate. But that's a really great selection. I mean, does anyone know if it's John Stitcher doing Red Dwarf? He's obsessed
have
with it.
no idea, actually.
I feel like he'd have mentioned, but
I think he probably would have mentioned it.
That's a really great couple of subjects there. And Isaac Newton, America and Scots are nice historical ones, which sometimes with historical ones, it's something which you don't know about. And like it's nice and obscure and you'll learn something. You might be something you've never even heard of. But those are ones that I think everyone will be able to have a play on, which is always good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, and that means also if you want to play along and do your predictions, tinyurl.com/mm-predict-23.
Kerry's right. Me listening to the Adam Bolton podcast was one of my 30 hours a week.
Yes.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we heard about that 30 hours. To which Valerie said 30 hours is not very much. Valerie probably fits in about 30 hours a day.
Impressive.
Not quite, but no, nonetheless.
Hey, with the 2 times system, you can play them quick. If you play the podcast twice speed.
Yeah, speedy. Yeah, exactly. You could have 2 phone, one in each ear. You could have all sorts of ways of doing this. So mastermind predictions. So first off, we had John Castell, Reptiles and Amphibians of the British Isles. He got 7. It was, I think he got flummoxed by things that were kind of a little bit related to the reptile or amphibian and not really kind of core, its features and this and that, but kind of, some more, I don't know how you call it, but the extended reptile and amphibian universe. So he only got 7. Then we had Lisa Cowan. Michael, tell us what you thought in the chat of Lisa Cowan and the Salem witch trials, because she got 10. She only slipped up on a couple towards the end, so she did very, very well.
Nice.
We had Siddharth did the Indian Premier League, 9, and Rebecca did Edward VIII and got 9. With my answer of the night, my champagne moment was the last answer in the specialist subject round was somebody called Fruity Metcalf.
Nice.
Which is a real person and not a PG Woodhouse. Absolutely love that. Chris is saying some overly wordy questions seem to be sneaking back in. I think there's an issue in terms of some of the subjects. You have to do a lot of explanation, which I guess means that if you do it for one, then you've got to kind of make it wordy for all. But it was an interesting mix. Now, but when you've got 10, 9, 9, the 7 probably is a little bit of a stretch to think they might win. But between the 10, 9, 9, they've got a chance. But general knowledge was carnage tonight. Do you think
there was some really tough stuff? I thought.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of sets that I was surprised. And sometimes those ones where there's 2 or 3 questions in a row that are really difficult, and not like a one that's going to reset your confidence with something a bit easier.
Yeah.
I was quite shocked, and it really made it quite an exciting contest. It looked like there was right until the last question of the third general knowledge, it looked like we were going to have a 3-way tie, and then that person got 1 ahead, and then the other one came in and smashed it. With her final performance, she did really, really well. But you're right. I think it was a tougher set. It seemed reasonably evenly tough. Maybe there was a few stinkers in each one, which is probably okay. It's when there's somewhat, I think there's been a few this season where one person's had a really rough one. You thought, that could have been the difference there. But clearly one player really was above everyone today.
Yeah, I felt for Siddharth. I mean,
he had some unlucky ones.
Yeah, he went for Madison Square Gardens and it was Carnegie Hall. He went for something, can't remember what it was, but amplitude and it was frequency.
He had a real poker face as well, which I really like. I did. There was stuff around. I don't know if he's going to get it or not. Was it? Oh. And there was one where he looked confused when the question was being read, which I thought was a nice, entertaining moment.
Yeah, so I feel he's a better quizzer than he showed, and that's probably also the case with Rebecca. Has 7. I feel there were more points in probably all of them tonight, and but until you're in that chair, until you're faced with those questions in that scenario, you just don't know how difficult it is. But Lisa did so well, double figures in both 11, and even when she was getting things wrong, she's asked about what's her name, Virginia Woolf novel. She's still giving a Virginia Woolf novel as an answer, you know. So she's got knowledge in there, even if it's not the right one. She was throwing stuff out there, and she was working her way to some of the Edelweiss and whatever. So I think she's
really
definitely a worthy winner on 21. I think we may have lost Michael, because I'm sure he would have been telling us how he would have done on the Salem witch trials. But nonetheless, congratulations to Lisa. Fantastic win for her. 21 points, nearest was 16, so that's a fine margin of victory. Let us move on, final stage of tonight's show, and look at Quiz Week. And here we go. So, Michael, talking of Michael, he was Quizzer of the Week last week for his performance in the quarterfinal of Pop Culture Challenge. Spoilers, he didn't make the final this time round, though. So unlucky, Michael, but still an ever-present in Tier 1 of Pop Culture Challenge. Helen Lepel, second for her first ever Full House. Pat Gibson and Emily Hogg coming joint third. In Team of the Week, I Want to Break Free from Online Quiz League were first, and on Partridge Project, I think they're OQL as well, aren't they? Second, and Also Rans came third. Claire says, still don't have to change our team name. Consistent there, Claire. And wonderful to have you on board. So this week's Quizzer of the Week nominations: Kevin Ashman, the man, the goat. OQL Full House this week, a monstrous performance.
Was it 28-8, something like that?
Something like that, 28-8, which
ridiculous.
If you don't know how Online Quiz League works, that means he got all 8 of his 2-point questions for 16, and then another 12 bonus questions. It's just crazy. The guy is amazing, and this time next week we'll be out there. Well, we'll know whether he's managed to win the International Quizzing Championship title. So Kevin's on form at the right time, but also on form Olaf Bjotomt, teammate in the England team with Kevin, Quiz League London Full House. Sue Brooks won today's Brain of Britain Heat 12, the last of the heats. So we're going to be in semi-finals now, and one of those semi-finals. Well, I think there might be a spoiler, so I won't say it. But there'll be people known to us on this channel who are in the semi-finals, so it's going to be really interesting. Li Chao Fan won episode 5 of the Chinese National Treasures Quiz, the show that they're all talking about over in Ningbo. So well done to Lee. Susan Cowan, tonight's is it Susan Cowan? I've just now got a doubt about it. Lisa Cowan. I wrote that down incorrectly. Lisa Cowan, tonight's mastermind winner. Brian Craythorne got an OQL Full House. Rob Cumming, 13 out of 15 in Pop Culture Challenge semi-finals. Chris Ducklin also got 13 out of 15. And in Pop Solos, tough set, yeah. And I looked at it, and it's like there was some. I didn't think it was brutal, but maybe I didn't see Tier 1. But
getting a 15, getting a range of all 15 was really tough. So 13 was super score.
I mean, the scrolling fighter quad was tough because it didn't feel obvious to me, and I was of that generation. So
you're right.
So no, that was great performances by them. Charlie Fritz, 13 out of 15 Pop Solos in America, which is always tough. Liam Hughes, OQL Full House. Dow Jackson, 7 out of 8 in QLL President's Cup. That's the hard variant of Quiz League of London. So well done to Dowd. Steve Perry, OQL USA Full House. And Lewis, tell us about this. The Flames International Final. Samantha Subramanian was in it. Was it Dan Burgess?
Dan Burgess.
And Pat Gibson and yourself.
Me. What a team.
I mean, it went to a tie-break between Dan and Samantha, and Samantha won. But you acquitted yourself well, Lewis.
I did all right. I was worried for a long time. I think minorly annoying that I think it probably did come down to the seat for me, because I had way more X's than everyone else. I think there was a point where, like, 9 questions in, I'd got 9 of my own questions in. I'd got 3 of them. The other 6 had been X's, which is just never ideal, really. And I don't think I'm any on the level of those people at all. And the fact that I beat Pat is nuts.
Anytime you beat Pat Gibson,
I'm taking it. It's a big win. But it was there was some really tough stuff there that I think there's some real strengths to the way they run Flames. I really enjoy it. It's fun. It's always interesting. But sometimes I think a lot of the Mimic competitions over here are quads always get harder. They never get easier. And they don't always do that in Flames. And sometimes it can be a bit of rogue and you don't know what you're going for, or where you're pitching it. I think I maybe just felt a little bit rough for me with the sea. But it was a great experience. It was really good fun. We enjoyed it. And as I said, I beat Pat. And really well done to Samantha, who did really well. They had one quad on Indian detectives that really, really suited him and got him into that final. I've not watched the tiebreak yet because weirdly, right after playing a quiz with a quad of questions about Martin Scorsese films, I went to go see a Martin Scorsese film, which I very much enjoyed. But I haven't watched the actual tiebreak, but I will just to see how I'd have done if I was in there. It's only a couple of points off it. It was a really fun game, and I really enjoy the guys over at Flames and what they're doing.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what sort of take up there is next time Flames comes out, because I think the next tournament will be Bundesliga from them.
Full Bundesliga,
yeah. So
not too different.
So yes, so well done anyway, Lewis, to get there and to come third, bronze medal position. Fantastic. Team of the week, Broken Hearts got 58 points in Quiz League of London. There's no free guess in that. That was just a brutal performance by them. Ian Bailey, Olaf Bjortomt, Mark Grant. They're just a superb team. Thesbians, top scorers in OQL USA. They got 60 points. In Portugal, Manos Castro, they're just so good. They're the reigning champions in Quiz Nations Portugal, and they got another 60 points there. Now, the big news this evening from Ghana, from the National Theatre, was the Ghana National Science and Math Quiz came to an end. And if you can look for the video, we'll put a link to it in the newsletter. But these are teams of two I don't know, high school students doing the most brutal maths and science quizzing that you will ever see. It's just ridiculously difficult. And there was barely a question I understood, let alone was able to answer. But they're supported by people. It's like football crowd fervor.
Love it.
Covered on national TV. The president of Ghana was there.
Huge.
The quizzing is huge in Ghana, and it's just amazing to watch. It's slightly bizarre one point when they were trying to work out a very complicated problem, and one of the schools started breaking out in prayer and then hymn singing because they needed to call on God's support.
Of course, it will help.
It didn't, as it turned out.
But he's fickle, that God.
Presec Legon, they won, and they are the most frequent winners of that trophy. I think they retained it this year. So look out for that. If you want to see actually what quizzing can look like in a different part of the world, where it's taken as one of ferociously seriously and as an entry point into a really good career, if you end up winning this competition, then look at that. It's like the fervor of a football crowd, very noisy, very entertaining. 3.5 hours long though, so you might want to just skip through some bits. OQL Division 3, Whittington's Cat beat Division 3 leaders, which was Dionysus Appreciation Society, I believe. Tonight, Open University won University Challenge, and Lewis, finishing another set of nominations with a defeat. But Mercians won Only Connect in an absolutely cracking match. So you can have vote at tinyurl.com/QW30op23. Voting is open now. We'll announce the winners on Friday. No, that was last week's shout out, so that's probably it. Upcoming events, our members quiz has happened, so you might be able to tell I didn't update these slides. The International Culture Challenge is still open for application, as are all those other competitions. And any links for anything on All Things Quiz, go to Linktree, linktr.ee/allthingsquiz, anywhere to find out. And you can nominate at tinyurl.com/ATQ nominations for Quizzer and Team of the Week next week. Whew, it's been another packed and busy and long episode, but we've had so
didn't feel that long.
It didn't feel like that one.
Just felt like good chat, Gareth.
When you've got good guests, it doesn't feel long. So if you joined us later in the show, watch back. There was some great stuff earlier when we were talking Only Connect with Pam, Ian, and Lewis. And of course, we had our friends from University Challenge on, and that was really enjoyable. So, as Gerard says, ooh, a big science and maths quiz sounds like fun. Someone tell Michael.
I believe I've just seen that Michael disappeared because he had his placement game
match
for PCC, and he won that, so he's finished 5th overall.
Brilliant! Well, congratulations!
Congrats to him.
We'll look out for the Tier 1 final, which presumably will be played.
I believe it's going to be next week on Wednesday the 8th.
Okay. Oh, well.
I may know that because they've got a interesting host, but we'll find out about that at the time.
Well, we will. Talking of hosting, next week I am going to be in Torremolinos in Spain. I've never been to Spain before, and I'm going to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've never been to Spain.
Spain? Is there there?
Yeah, no, but I've been quizzing in Romania, in Estonia, in Greece, and I've never quizzed.
Just getting around to Spain now.
So, I'm going to do the whole tourist thing. I'm going to go to Granada and the Alhambra and all that sort of thing. But there will be some quizzing there, and I will be vlogging from that. I'll be doing kind of short updates of how it's all going, give you insights into that. But it does mean that I won't be around next Monday night. But Lewis has agreed to take charge. Now, that we're going to have to work out what we do with things like nominations, etc. We may have to hold them over for a day or so.
I'll just write them down on a piece of paper and just put them in front of the camera.
So we'll work out some of the fine details of all that. But you'll be in very good hands, and it will be just Lewis will be let loose to do whatever he wants with the show. Gerard, I'm getting excited about Spain, just in general, or the fact that we're flying.
It's an exciting country.
It is. I tell you, it's going to be
a
weekend of the most brutal quizzing. But it will also be an opportunity to see people I haven't seen since before COVID from around Europe, and to meet other people like Victoria Gross that I've never met in the flesh before.
Great.
So that is going to be awesome. I will do. So Lewis, have a great week next week.
You too, Gareth. Thank you.
Looking after this crazy crew. We're going to have to try and find some guests for you.
I'll just solo it. It's fine.
Why not?
Monologue.
And don't forget, if you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, like this video, subscribe, please do that. It helps other people like you to find us. Don't forget, you can vote for What Is the Question at tinyurl.com/WITQ Philadelphia. We've got a good selection of questions that have come in, including Anne Gavigan's What is the best city on the world? In the world, because that's where she's from. So that will close on Wednesday, and we'll release the final as normal. And you can vote for Quiz Room Team of the Week at tinyurl.com/30oct23, I believe. Until next week, I will see some of you in Torremolinos, and I will be the one weeping into my beer when I realised quite how far the international curriculum has changed in the last 3 years, and how far behind the curve I am on all that. But at least I'll be able to have a beer, so all will be well. We will see you. I will see you probably in a couple of weeks. Lewis will see you next week. Until then, have a great time. Goodbye, everybody.